changed his gender. You know what I mean? Okay, can he stay in the NBA, or because he's a woman, does he have to go to the WNBA where he will score 840 points a game?
Woke culture has continued to hound every aspect of the modern media. The entertainment industry in particular has been subjected to silence and control, and most stars of the big screens have succumbed to this because of their fear of the menacing cancel culture used by the woke media to spread their crazy ideologies without any obstacles. But not everyone is scared of their rants and tactics. Among the big names of the entertainment industry, a rugged few in American comedy have refused to give in to this fear of cancel culture. Stars like the notorious Dave Chapelle are giving the wokey left a lot of things to be offended by. His constant jabs and shades, which he throws at the ridiculous ideologies and delusions of the so-called progressive left, are enough to drive the already crazy mob into full-blown insanity. The woke community has renewed calls to cancel the 50-year-old comedy legend because of his recent jokes about trans people. They claim he has lost touch with the realities of the modern day and age, but most of us can see quite well that he has been around long enough to tell that something is going wrong with American society. Being who he is, he has to do something about it, even if it's just by telling the truth with jokes. It's no surprise that the woke community lacks the basic ability to take simple jokes unless, of course, it's about something or someone they hate, like Donald Trump. Every opinion, every ideology, and every speech somehow needs to be tailored to suit the taste of the woke left, or else they describe it as being offensive. But Dave Chapelle doesn't care. Having been in the comedy industry for decades, the icon has developed quite a tough skin and knows that no one is spared from being made fun of when it comes to comedy. In a nation that adheres to freedom of speech, people should be allowed to point out absurdity wherever they deem fit. No group should be given precedence over the other in any form or shape. Dave made a joke about how irrational it is for a man to pretend to be a woman and expect everyone to support and applaud this obvious delusion. He has been around long enough to see the madness and insanity take over the country, and he also doesn't seem to be ignorant of the backlash that comes from the woke media when anyone tries to point them in the right direction. But Dave is too stubborn to be afraid of the screams of a few deluded folks. He went further to mention the insanity in allowing male criminals who identify as females upon their conviction into female prisons. It's scary that in California, female inmates are left at the mercy of male criminals who parade themselves as women, even leading to several cases of pregnancy, but the world is too afraid to do something about this daylight delusion. But Dave isn't. Dave pointed out how ridiculous the whole thing is by saying that if he would ever have to go to prison, he sure would prefer to serve time in the state of California, where he can get access to female prisoners by identifying as a woman. This mockery of the trans movement is further heightened by the backlash from the woke communities, who instead of seeing the delusion in their ideologies, choose to employ cancel culture to stop Dave Chapelle and others from speaking the truth. It's quite obvious at this point that the trans and woke agenda is to endanger lives and destroy society. Why else would the safety of the women in female prisons be compromised to satisfy a very loud minority of woke ideologues? More people need to speak out against the madness to bring a lasting solution to this frustrating situation. But despite the activities being organized to bring an end to this injustice done to female inmates, the entire nation seems to be too slow in rectifying this tragic error, and more women get to be assaulted by narcissistic predators parading themselves as women all over America. Dave Chapelle went further and joked about LeBron James going trans. He would be allowed to play in the WNBA as a woman in today's America. Chapelle went on to say that LeBron would shatter the records in a single day, and how such events occurring would have been unimaginable some 10 or 20 years ago. But in this age of woke culture, it has become the reality. Men now flock over to women's sports and outperform them in their own game. It seems the major target and victims of the trans community are the children and women, and only a group filled with psychopaths attacks the weakest in society. But it's gladdening to know that not everyone is cowering in fear and hesitating to speak up against the madness. Hollywood may have fallen totally to the dictates of the woke media, but comedy is seemingly putting up an amazing fight against them. The comedy stars are coming out en masse to say enough is enough. America is a nation, a beacon for democracy, and the extinction of the freedom of speech provision to please a few people must be undone. Although the government of the day seems to be fighting hard to push this agenda, the American people are pushing back harder. The weaponization of the justice system against political enemies is just the broader picture. Soon it's going to be used against individual citizens en masse, and it has even already begun. The calls for Dave Chapelle to be canceled is an example of this. A society of people who are offended at the slightest remark is a society desperately in need of healing. The sudden inability of Americans to take jokes is a pointer to the toxic invasion of an unhealthy ideology within society. The influx of the trans movement by the woke society has bred nothing but hate and disaster for the American people. The rights of other citizens became second class in the eyes of trans people and other members of the woke community. They could address men and women with whatever term they deemed fit, but were the first to cry foul when someone addressed them by their obvious gender. We find these people addressing regular people as CS male or CS woman and clamoring for legal actions when they claim to be misgendered, and the fact that certain medical personnel who should know better are feeding this delusion is disheartening. Gender dysphoria, which used to be a sign of mental illness, is now grounds for actual surgery, even on young children. These people should be told that it is impossible to be born in the wrong body. A kid should not be given hormones to escape the wrong puberty. Parents should not be forced to allow their kids to undergo any gender-affirming surgery till the kids are of legal age to actually understand the gravity of what is being done. These are all reasonable ideas, but somehow the woke left sees something deeply wrong in statements like this, and the American government is hell-bent on backing up these deranged people. Women and children, the two most vulnerable sets in society, have been targeted repeatedly. Young women have to stand by and watch as male perverts enter and make use of their bathrooms, and everyone is just supposed to watch and say nothing about it. Young kids in school have to now cope with being taught sexualized gibberish that they are too young to understand, and parents are not to say a word about it. Most elites are quiet when it comes to the trans community. They are too scared to address the woke insanity because of the fear of losing their status and position in society. That is why people like Dave Chapelle should be celebrated, because despite what they stand to lose and the backlash they may face, they choose to speak up for what is right, even if it is through comedy. More people should be encouraged to speak up for the American people. Silence will only embolden the woke media to place more sanctions and restrictions on the lives of fellow citizens. By doing this, it would seem possible that in the near future, true Americans will take back their country from the delusional woke community currently running it. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of this video. See you next time.